Friday Night Lights. Beautiful downtown Toronto inside Rogers Center, which was Sky Dome, where the Argos have made their home for the last 27 years. This is their final game here. They'll move to BMO Field next season. Final game of the regular season, and Ricky Ray, is this a tune-up for the playoffs, Dwayne Ford?
Well, that's certainly the way Ricky Ray is treating this one. Looking for the 100th win of his career as a starting quarterback, looking for his first win of 2015. Dominique Davis making the first start of his Canadian Football League career. Former East Carolina Pirate and Atlanta Falcon gets the final game for the Bombers.
Mike O'Shea, what a night for him. It's his final game. They're not going to the postseason. At halftime, he will be announced as an all-time Argo. Ceremony at halftime tonight. Scott Milanovic, his team, gearing up for next week. Who will it be? Will it be Ottawa? Will it be Hamilton? We know one thing for sure. They're on the road. The Argos have been on the road practically all season long. Newcomers, Spencer Davis is back for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who have a bunch of new players in as they evaluate their playing for next year. The Argos are getting ready for the playoffs. Here we go in the final game for the Argos at Rogers Center. And quickly downfield, the Argos swallow up the returner. And here comes Dominique Davis, who came out of East Carolina, before that Boston College. Began this year in Calgary on their practice roster. Now he is a Winnipeg Blue Bombers starter.
Dominique Davis will be looking at a couple of these targets for the first time in game action for him. Darvin Adams, 12 catches, 157 yards in his last couple of games. And Chris Bastian, the second-year man, originally a Saskatchewan draft pick, acquired in the Corey Watson trade in the offseason.
Davis's first start, non-exhibition start since 2012 in East Carolina. Hands it off to Cameron Marshall. For the Argos, not many changes defensively tonight. They have some changes, but again, Greg Jones is the man in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg Jones on the verge of 100 tackles, and what stands out for me about him, those 17 special teams tackles as well. Cleon Lang, the Argos nominee for most outstanding Canadian, and deservedly so. He's been outstanding. And Akwasi Owusu-Ansah, 4 interceptions, including one last week.
Davis, his first pass down the sideline, and Darvin Adams can't hang on. An incomplete pass. Davis showing some pep on that throw, and this one looked like it should have been caught by Adams. Indeed it should have.
Yeah, absolutely. That one's in cleanly, but as you saw, he let it get into his body, right through his hands, off the shoulder pads.
So a quick 2 and out for the Blue Bombers. That's been a malaise for this team all season long. Sergio Castillo will kick and punt tonight. Lirim Hajrullahu is a scratch. You wonder if this might be a precursor to what we might see next season. Look at this booming kick from Castillo. A.J. Jefferson is back, picking his way up near the 45-yard line. And 36-year-old Ricky Ray, first start in quite some time last week against the BC Lions. Second start of the season tonight.
Ricky Ray will have several different faces as the Argos shuffle their lineup. Maintenance week for a few of their veteran players. So Chad Cackard is in for Brandon Whitaker at running back. Greg Van Roten slides out to play right tackle. He's usually the guard as Chris Van Zyl is down. Anthony Coombs, the second-year man, very consistent, at least one catch in each of the 16 games he's played to date.
Ricky Ray gunning right away, and incomplete. They wanted a interference call downfield as Ricky Ray came out gunning.
Well, Kenny Shaw is a burner. Guy who saw a little bit of action earlier in the season, primarily as a return man. You wonder a little bit to see Ricky Ray throw that one deep on his first pass of the ball game. He wants to let it be known that that shoulder's just fine. There weren't a lot of deep throws last week against the BC Lions. You'd expect opposing defenses to maybe sit on the underneath stuff a little more and challenge Ray to try to throw the ball deep. Well, right there, he's reminded them they may have to back up.
Ricky Ray now under duress, on the roll again, and it's caught by Anthony Coombs. big play, first down, and guess what? That shoulder looks really good right now on Ricky Ray. 2 throws with some mustard on them.
Well, it would seem that Ricky Ray is at a point in his recovery and rehabilitation. Obviously, hasn't been 100% up to this point, but still at a stage where you believe he can get a little bit better every week just with the shoulder and obviously with his timing with the receivers.
Scott Milanovic said he'll go with his gut towards the postseason. Will not make a decision until after this game. But for all intents and purposes, it looks like it will be Ricky Ray moving forward. Moving forward here is Curtis Steele. He goes up the middle. He's brought down by Khalil Bass. Picks up half the first down yardage.
Khalil Bass is certainly one of those to watch for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Also a guy with a shot at reaching the century mark in terms of tackles. The Bombers nominee for top rookie. Johnny Adams, also a first-year guy with an outstanding season. 6 picks thus far for him. Another first-year Bomber, though, a pro football veteran, Jamal Westerman, Winnipeg's nominee in 3 outstanding player categories.
Second down, 5 yards. Ray now fakes it, and Ricky Ray brought down by middle linebacker Sam Hurl. And the Argos will bring out their field goal unit, but with an update now, let's go to the sideline. Here's Matthew Shinetti.
Rod, just before the game started, Scott Milanovic went ahead and told me that Swayze Waters will not be kicking tonight. He says there's really nothing to worry about. It's just tightness. Swayze Waters was out at the start of really preparation and before the game, and he looked all right, but apparently has come to the coaching staff and said that he's not feeling well enough to kick tonight. Tightness is what we're being told, guys.
All right, so Justin Pilardi, what an insurance policy he has been. Pilardi, under pressure, puts it through. Big kick for Justin Pilardi. Not bad for a guy who was coaching minor football a couple of months ago. Where were you in 1989? That's where the Argos were. Skydome, Bob Obilovich and the Argos, their first ever game here. Tonight, it's their last. They lost that game to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but a lot of great memories through the years, and we'll go through some of those tonight. Scott Milanovic told us yesterday one of his greatest memories was only a few years ago, and the Argos won the Grey Cup in 2012. Packed house here. Rogers Center has been the home. Skydome has been the home for the Argos for the last 26 seasons.
You know, Blackie, I was at that first game. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I don't believe it. Were you? Come on. I thought you might have been playing, actually. Tony Burnett and Spencer Davis brings it back up near the 35-yard line. Dominic Davis, 5th quarterback for the Bombers this season.
Yeah, it's been a tough go, obviously, with the injury to Drew Willie, but they want to take a look at Davis. And that's a game that obviously means nothing in terms of the standings, but for Dominic Davis means a great deal as they're trying to determine if this is a guy who may fit into their plans going forward.
26 years old. Number 6 has it batted down. Well, it's the last game of the season. Dominic Davis is quarterback number 5, and Mike O'Shea says, why not?
He seems to have digested everything, you know, in terms of the game plan. He's athletic. He's got a strong arm. You know, he'll go through his progressions and read plays out and make decisions, and then if that breaks down, I'm sure he can make plays with his feet and extend plays.
Big toss there. I'll tell you what, Dominic Davis, it's a big arm, looking for Darvin Adams, but again, a successive 2-and-out for the new Bomber quarterback.
That one feeling a little bit of pressure from the backside, courtesy of Martin Wright, who's in at defensive end. He's looking for Darvin Adams. But an overthrow here as he's got to get the ball out a little early.
Second meeting of the season between these two teams. They met back on August 14th. Argos won, and this guy brought a punt back for a touchdown. A.J. Jefferson. This time tackled near the 40-yard line. No Chad Owens tonight. A lot of weapons sitting tonight, but Ricky Ray is back. Will he be the quarterback for the Argos next week in the East Division semifinal? Wendy's Friday Night Football continues from T-Dot after this. Football is brought to you by Wendy's Bacon Portobello Mushroom Melt. It's back, but only at Wendy's. Now that's better. Second series coming up tonight for the Argos. Ricky Ray up against the Blue Bombers here tonight. Just one first down so far for the Argos, and 36-year-old Ray, career start 191 as Anthony Coombs close to a first down. He'll move the sticks. If he gets a win tonight, this would be career win number 100 for Ricky Ray.
Yeah, yet another milestone in the career of Ricky Ray. Take a look at some of his moments from a week ago, his first start of the season. His first start, in fact, in 362 days against the BC Lions. Some highs, some lows for Ray in that one. Start well. Things seem to bog down for the Argos offensively at halftime. There's no doubt developing some momentum here heading into the playoffs will be key for Ray.
Play action gives it right back to Curtis Steele. He squirms up near the Bomber 50-yard line. That was the play action to Steele, then right back to number 29.
Well, Curtis Steele will be a very good guy to have healthy for the playoffs. He's missed most of this season due to injury, but knowing that you're going to be playing outside and could get anything weather-wise in the postseason, that ground game can become a little bit more important. Steele also an outstanding special teamer for the Toronto Argonauts.
Brandon Whitaker not in the lineup tonight. Torrey Gurley down. Vidal Hazelton, Chad Owens. So Argos sitting some regulars. Again, there's Steele. First down. And for Ricky Ray, a second straight start. Says it's getting better and better.
This week of practice compared to last week, I felt more comfortable. Even with the new guys out there, I felt just more comfortable with my process of doing things. And I mean, that's what it takes. It just takes more reps out there, just being in that live action. And, another game under my belt this week will help out. And, just trying to get used to, everything that you got to be aware of, in a game time situation.
First and 10 for Ricky Ray. Game time situation here tonight. Midway through the first quarter, 3-0 Argos on the Pilardi field goal. Another bubble screen here. Chad Cackert. Chad Cackert back in the lineup tonight. Bulldozes his way up near the 40-yard line. I would think 2012 in this building would also be a highlight for number 44, who was the Grey Cup MVP.
No question about that. Chad Cackert, high point of a career that was derailed by injuries soon after that. He spent the last couple of years trying to battle back, made his return earlier this season against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, had 73 yards rushing in what most would see as a triumphant return.
2nd and 3. Ray decides to throw and will throw it away. So the drive will stall here. And Justin Pilardi just made a 48-yarder earlier. They kick a field goal here. It would be from near that same range. 47 yards. How about the story for Justin Pilardi? Again, it was supposed to be Swayze Waters back in the lineup tonight. Pilardi, remember, pushed into action earlier this season against Ottawa. A week earlier had been coaching minor football in Truro, Nova Scotia, gets the call and wins the game for the Argos. And this kick is up, and this one is wide. Davis in his first game bringing it out, and Spencer Davis up near the 20-yard line. So a miss. 1 for 1 is Pilardi. 3-0 Argos. Brought to you by Nissan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. Inside, indoors, for the last time for the Toronto Argos ever. Go to BMO Field next year. What do you think about the move to BMO?
Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm a guy that grew up in Southern Ontario watching games, Argo games at Exhibition Stadium. BMO Field, essentially the same location, outdoor, right on public transit lines. Went right by there on my way here this evening. In fact,
you took public transit to get here, didn't you?
I did take public transit.
There's a catch made by Cameron Marshall, so the first completion for Dominic Davis as a CFL quarterback. It's been such an awkward time. This was a great place for the Argos, a great home for the Argos at times. This has been such a ridiculously awkward season for this team.
Well, it really has. And
timeout, Winnipeg.
Aside from the opportunity to have a more favorable schedule just in terms of the way the lease goes, you know, I mean, the move is a positive for the Canadian Football League, not just Toronto. I mean, it benefits all the teams when the Argos can have a better schedule.
Better schedule. Smaller stadium, but will be more comfortable. That seems to
More
be the trend.
appropriate, though.
That seems to be the trend, though, in pro sports. And here are some of the highlights through the years. The first game, the first win, all-time record. And, of course, that Grey Cup game in 2012. There have been some moments to remember in this building, but that era will end tonight. It's 2nd down and 5 after the timeout burned by the Blue Bombers. Davis, far side. A dangerous toss, Rory Colhert. So back-to-back receptions as Colhert hauls it in on the far sideline. And it's a first down, Winnipeg.
Davis getting good protection from that offensive line. The reliable Rory Colhert, undrafted free agent out of the University of Saskatchewan. Numbers down a little bit this year, but a guy who's certainly found his niche with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And it off again, and busting up the middle. Blue Bombers again tonight, 40 are using this really as an evaluation. People may call it a nothing game. It's certainly something for the Argos getting ready for the playoffs, but for the Blue Bombers, this means a lot to some of these players who are looking for jobs next year.
Yeah, and the fellas talked about it during the pregame show, whether you're competing for a job in Winnipeg or whether you're trying to put down some good game film to earn a job somewhere else. This is your resume.
Davis pumps it in again. Great arm strength. Dominic Davis into Cameron Marshall, and he'll move the sticks again. So managing quite well, considering he really hasn't been on a field in game action in 3 years.
Well, they get a matchup they like here with the running back Marshall working in space against an inside linebacker in Greg Jones. Just in terms of speed, quarterback will take that match anytime.
Argos send for Davis out of the backfield and spied to perfection by Thomas Miles. Former Manitoba Bison having a stellar first year. He's a linebacker with the Argos.
Yeah, Miles has done a really nice job. He's had an opportunity to play here, as you see him in the middle of your screen. Getting an opportunity to play with the injury to Corey Greenwood. They wanted to maintain a Canadian starter at that spot. James Yurachuk saw a little action, but Miles, 2014 draft pick from the Bison's program, put up great numbers. Very productive player.
Davis now decides to take off with it. Will tuck it, but will not get to the first down marker. In fact, just past the initial line of scrimmage, there was a flag that flew late on the far side of the field. Our referee tonight is Dave Foxcroft. Mike O'Shea, who will be feted at halftime as an all-time Argo. So many great years in this stadium with the Argos.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Winnipeg, number 61. 15-yard penalty will be 3rd down.
15 yards, now a 3rd down.
Going to see a battle going on here between a couple of Bomber offensive linemen and Toronto D tackle Cleon Lang. Those hits away from the play, the so-called tourist hits, not tolerated.
Sergio Castillo, only a few games as a Blue Bomber in the CFL. Jefferson swarmed. Dropped at the 28-yard line. 3.5 to go, first quarter. Ricky Ray brings his offense back out on the field. Continues this weekend. 2 games. Big one tomorrow. Hamilton and Ottawa to decide the East Division. Calgary, BC also tomorrow. Precursor to next week. And the West Division semifinal. Wonder if they'll be tipping their hands at all next week. Ricky Ray back on the field with more on his return. Let's go down to Matt.
Rod, when you take a look at that quarterback situation for the Argos, it might still not entirely be set going into the playoffs, because Ricky Ray starts tonight, and the eye test for Scott Milanovic is Ricky looking like Ricky? That means, is he in the throwing rhythm he needs to be? How's the shoulder strength? And right now, Milanovic says he'll make the decision about who the quarterback will be going into the playoffs a day or so after tonight's game. But a side note that everyone should be aware of, yesterday Trevor Harris was named the Argos MOP as voted on by the local press. But Milanovic has not had an easy choice when it comes to the quarterback situation late in the season, guys.
Yeah, absolutely right. Thank you, Matthew. Ricky Ray tosses it out to Cackard, makes a nice grab, and Bruce Johnson brings him down, but only at the initial line of scrimmage. It's been that kind of year for the Argos. You know, nothing really going according to form. Trevor Harris is the MOP, but might not play in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, this to me is shades of 2004. And you think about the BC Lions. Dave Dickinson, who at the time was a former MOP, having won the award in 2000 in Calgary.
Casey Printers.
Dave got hurt. Casey Printers came off the bench, went on to have a monster season, was named the league's MOP, but didn't start in the Grey Cup game because Dave Dickinson was back and healthy.
Ray now, pocket collapses, gives it off to Coombs, and once again the Argos will have to boot the ball away. As they do bring out their kick team, though, there might be a little concern as well surrounding the Argos and Swayze Waters. They expected Waters to be back and healthy and ready for the playoffs because he is a weapon. The fact that he has some tightness here tonight might be a concern moving forward.
Well, and the Argos' big mission here and getting from this week to next week, he's a little tired as well, by the way, exhausted. But the fact is, for the Argos, they want to go into the playoffs healthy. And this is why you don't see guys like Chad Owens in the lineup. You don't see Brandon Whitaker, Chris Van Zyl. So keeping with that philosophy, smart decision to not have Swayze Waters do anything tonight.
Once again, Spencer Davis now spinning and then is hammered at the 50. Eric Tanya, Jake Reinhardt. Argos still lead with 2 minutes to go in the first, 3-0. Here are the Argos nominees for the player awards. Trevor Harrison, that is an easy one. Defensive player as well, Greg Jones. What an outstanding year he had. Canadian Cleon Lang. And the top rookie, Vidal Hazelton, who's not in the lineup tonight for the Argos.
Yeah, another one of those taking a maintenance week.
Which is logical as well, especially at this time of year. Dominic Davis again, chucking wide open on the far side. Down inside the 30-yard line is Clarence Denmark on an island. Dominic Davis hits another bullseye.
Confusion on the back end. Clarence Denmark is the wide man here. If you watch the defenders, one takes the short route, one goes with the deeper inside route, and leave Denmark all alone deep on the sidelines.
They bring it down near the 27-yard line. Davis again. Here comes the rush. Escapes now, moves that pocket, and will take it out of bounds. Yesterday when Dominic Davis chatted with us, he talked about his heroes growing up. His first quarterback that he kind of idolized was Michael Vick, and then the guy who says he kind of takes after a little bit is Aaron Rodgers.
We're seeing bits and pieces of that on a smaller scale.
Likes to throw, uses feet. Certainly would love to emulate the success Rodgers has had. Here's the blitz. Davis now ducks one, cuts away, and half the first down yardage, but they'll bring out the kick team now for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Tie the ball game. You can see flashes already from Dominic Davis, though, that he's got the skill set.
Well, absolutely, and for Mike O'Shea, you need to see it in the game to truly evaluate a guy when all the lights are on. live bullets, as they say. You get an idea of some of the tools he's got when you watch him in practice.
Sergio Castillo from the 30. And Castillo now 8 of 9 as a Blue Bomber kicker. The final play of the first quarter ties this game at 3. Blue Bombers looking towards next season. Argos getting ready for next week. This is Wendy's Friday Night Football on TSN. Favorite moment watching football at Rogers Center through the years was watching this guy. The massive shoulder pads of Dwayne Ford. His first ever touchdown back in 1901.
Are they going to let this roll long enough to see see what happened to the football? I threw it away. It was the best 1-yard run ever in the Rogers Center, by the way.
Andre,
immortalized by a statue outside. It's outside gate 7.
You may have built it yourself.
I did. Carved it from soap.
Andre the Giant shoulder pads on there as well. That was what year?
That was 1995. The great irony of this being that it took me until my 5th year in the league to get a touchdown.
Yeah, I know you must be emotional tonight, looking back on that. Good though. We will continue to take a look at all the highlights
of my career. My illustrious career.
You had a great career. What are you talking about?
We should have them done by the 14-minute mark of the second quarter.
A lot of people in the Canadian Football League through the years have not had what you have, and those are those rings that you wear.
That's right.
Every single day. 2nd and 10 now for the Argos here. Second quarter. 3-3 ball game. Blue Bombers rush 4. Ricky Ray settles in the pocket and throws it to the near sideline. And again, the Argos playing a lot of the receivers tonight. This is Phil Bates, who had a touchdown last week. He's 1 for 1 last week, and 1 was a touchdown. So this is his second catch as an Argo.
Phil Bates, another big target in this Toronto lineup. Came in last week for Torrey Gurley. As you said, that was a 24-yard touchdown catch, his only catch of the ball game.
First and 10, Jack Cackert rumbling. A healthy Chad Cackert. You talked about the injury. Shattered ankle 2013 in the week lead up to the playoff game against Hamilton. Cackert then tried to come back, retired, became a strength and conditioning coach, was always working out with the hopes of coming back.
Well, you'd often see Chad Cackert before games when he, as you said, was listed as the strength and conditioning coach for the Argos. A lot of the strength and conditioning he was doing on himself. He'd be out there working out, running as hard as anybody before games, working towards that comeback.
Handing it off again to Cackert. Chad Cackert, looking like Cackert 2012. Big run there. Moves the sticks once more. A 21-yard romp from double barrel 44.
Good, hard, physical run from Chad Cackert. As you're seeing some of that depth in the Toronto Argonaut backfield. We talked about Curtis Steele as well, coming back late in the season. So it'll be interesting to see what the Argo playoff roster looks like next weekend. Whether they decide to get a couple of these guys in the lineup.
Once again, they grind it up the middle for Cackert. And on this drive, Ricky Ray and Chad Cackert are both looking back, thinking it looked like it was back 3 years ago when they led their team to the Grey Cup victory. 3 carries for 39 for Cackert. Scott Milanovic is going to have some decisions to make in this off week leading up to the playoff game next week.
Well, he certainly is at a few roster spots, but the great thing for Scott Milanovic is the irony that they're the 3rd place team, the lowest seed going into the playoffs in the East, but they're going to have a lot of their guys rested. Whereas Ottawa and Hamilton are essentially playing back-to-back playoff games. Whichever one of them doesn't get the bye will not be as well rested as some of the Argos players.
There's Bates again with another reception. It's very interesting in the East, though, Dwayne, when you think about it, because there really isn't one clear favorite right now.
Certainly all three of the playoff-bound East Division teams have had their moments this year. Obviously, the Hamilton Tiger Cats were a favorite earlier in the season prior to the Zach Collaros injury. Ottawa's been very good of late.
Play action, Ray, touchdown, Dave Stala, his first of the season. Dave Stala, as he used to do down the road in Hamilton, boots it into the crowd, and Ricky Ray connects with Stala for the game's first touchdown.
Well, Dave Stala, the Hamilton native, brought in by these Toronto Argonauts as a free agent after training camp, largely to provide some veteran presence, a guy who had worked with Scott Milanovich in the past in Montreal. Great insurance policy to have. 36-year-old St. Mary's product.
Point after is wide. Still alive. Football can take it the other way for 2 points if they can get there. Low-legged can't. So the 32-yard convert is no good. Stala the holder, but Stala was the scorer. Argos have a 9-3 lead. Ricky Ray engineers a nice drive. Dave Stala has his first touchdown as an Argo.
Argonauts touchdown drive. Phil Bates chipping in with a couple of catches along the way here in his second Canadian Football League game. Chad Cackert also looking strong in the early going. All setting the table for Ricky Ray to Dave Stala, his first touchdown since 2012.
As a Hamilton Tiger Cat. Good old times. Dave Stala used to do that regularly down the road with the Ticats. He was a touchdown machine for a couple of years. Ended up in Montreal last year. No touchdowns in 2013. And Davis, busy so far. Troy Studermeyer not playing tonight for the Blue Bombers. Getting a look at Spencer Davis. Last time that Stala scored, September 28th. For the Hamilton Tigers. 2012.
2 touchdowns.
And I'm sure
ball game.
I'm sure we don't have to look at the highlights, but I'm sure he did something with the football. Because he was
a little hacky sacky.
We missed that stuff from Stala. So he gets a touchdown in the final regular season game of 2015. Dominic Davis now looks to wing it again, and this could have been picked off. Travis Hawkins got his hands on this.
Yeah, Hawkins had the best shot. Darvin Adams got a hand in here or not. Maybe just a little bit of contact from the Winnipeg receiver distracted Hawkins enough to keep the halfback from squeezing that one.
Another 2nd and 10 for Davis. 4 receivers to his left. Looks that way. Fires to Denmark again. It's going to be, again, short of a first down, and the kick team will return for the Blue Bombers. It's been another offseason in Winnipeg. This is a team that went all in the offseason, got some free agents, but the quarterback situation again, Drew Willie going down early. 5 different quarterbacks for Mike O'Shea this year. And the Grey Cup in their home, they wanted to be there, not even close.
Yeah, I mean, you look at most teams in the Canadian Football League, you suffer an injury to your starting quarterback, it changes things drastically. You may be fortunate enough to have a guy who can keep things above water, but any team that's lost its quarterback for a significant time has seen its fortunes affected.
Argos lead 9-3 here. Wendy's Friday Night Football. Has a touchdown here tonight, brings back some memories of the 2001 Vanier Cup I think this is when the first time when people started thinking that he was nicknamed Sticky. What a catch for Smooth, St. Mary's University in the Vanier Cup, one of the great football memories by Rogers Center through the years.
That's no physical 1-yard run, but not bad.
Let's go down to Matt Chinetti.
Now, Rod, the funny thing about that catch, when Dave Stala came into the stadium tonight, he said, that's what I was thinking about. I came in, I saw that end zone, and I remembered that catch and how great it was, and then everyone called me Sticky. But what people didn't realize on that play is I actually concussed myself. I got up, went to the sidelines, didn't feel too good, and they put me back in the next series. It was a different time back then, he said. Guys?
Yes, obviously no protocol at the time. Thank you. As you noticed, Trevor Harris is in the ballgame. So has Scott Milanovich already seen enough from Ricky Ray, or is this now open audition?
Well, I would tend to believe, given that Trevor Harris started 16 games, Trevor Harris doesn't need to audition. I would say that you're getting Ricky Ray out because you anticipate that he's going to be the starter. That's the way that I read this situation.
Curtis Steele gets the handoff.
Again, a number of other Argos offensive starters not even dressed for this ball game. A different situation for Ricky Ray, a guy who didn't see game action until 2 weeks ago, didn't make a start until last week. So he needs to get and needed to get some playing time, certainly.
Is this enough playing time?
I'm going to trust Scott Milanovich when he says yes. Ricky Ray, the last 2 games, has looked like Ricky Ray.
So Trevor's on the sideline now, and now it's Adrian McPherson, but he's a short yardage quarterback coming into the ball game here. On 3rd down, Bombers stack it up. Person plunges over for the first down. Trevor Harris was the backup quarterback to Ricky Ray in the 2012 Grey Cup. He's been here for a while, finally gets the job this year with Ray coming back, rehabbing from injury, that surgically repaired shoulder. Harris has an incredible season, 32 touchdowns. Over 4,000 yards passing, almost 72%. But still not good enough to get a playoff game because Ricky Ray is back. Harris, far side. Deontay Spencer was almost sprung for a touchdown. Tripped up. Close to a first down. Looks like they'll move the sticks.
Nice job by Spencer here, and a good job by Anthony Coombs getting that block on the outside. Trying to create a lane. Spencer on the outside running that. Good teamwork there by the 2 young Argo receivers.
Harris hands it off, and big loss here. Mo Leggett blitzing in. Tackle for a loss, a big loss. Sends the Argos back into their side of the field.
Pressure coming off both edges there. Only hope for Steele was just to keep it as tight as he could up the middle.
Bombers make a number of changes defensively. 3 fresh, new defensive linemen. Ethan Farmer in, Jamarcus McFarland, Justin Cole, and now Harris launching and caught! Deontay Spencer. Receiving end of a bomb from Trevor Harris. There's a penalty flag down.
The flag is back at the line of scrimmage.
Offside, Winnipeg, number 93. Penalties declined. First down, Toronto.
No kidding. Deontay Spencer as Harris goes gunning. 45-yarder into the score zone.
And you have to appreciate both the body control and concentration here from Deontay Spencer. You're full speed on a go route to get completely turned around. Defender goes up right in front of you. That's a halfback playing his first game, Julian Posey. But he stays with it, extends, brings it in. Nice job for Spencer, a guy who's had one of the top receiving percentages for the Toronto Argonauts.
Argos number 1 in the league in this area. The red zone as he was looking for Dave Stala. Harris's 3 completions so far, all to Spencer for 65 yards as they're targeting Dave Stala here. Maybe it's because it's vintage night. Bringing back some memories for Stala. Goes up and would have been an outstanding grab as Johnny Adams blankets him. So second down.
Veteran Dave Stala against the newcomer Johnny Adams, tied for the Canadian Football League lead with 6 picks out on that boundary corner for the Bombers.
Harris now. Here's the rush, and that's batted away nicely.
Julian Posey,
newcomer.
Back, he's in for DeMond Washington this week. One of those guys who's been with the Bombers for some time this season. They want to make sure they get a look in game action. A guy who was originally brought into the CFL by the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Native of San Fran out of Ohio. So Justin Pilardi, just a chip shot for him. Again, wasn't supposed to kick field goals tonight. Swayze Waters was. Had tightness early on, so Pilardi boots this through and extends the lead to 12-3 for the Argos on Wendy's Friday Night Football. Flashback to 1989, one of the greatest Grey Cups ever. Certainly brought a province to its feet. Dave Ridgway beating the Hamilton Tiger Cats. There's Suits, holder on that play. Wendy's Friday Night Football continues tonight, looking back on the great moments in Toronto at Rogers Centre through the years for the Argos, playing their final home game ever here tonight. Darvin Adams, far side, receiving end of the pass from Dominic Davis.
Darvin Adams, another one of those good personnel finds.
From here.
Exactly, spent last season with the Toronto Argonauts. One of the guys who kind of flew under the radar a little bit in terms of the free agent receiver class. Everybody talks so much about the group of guys that moved on to Ottawa, but Darvin Adams has been very, very productive here in his first year as a Winnipeg Blue Bomber.
First down. They'll move the sticks here. 12-3 the score for the Argos here tonight. Again, next week, the Argos will be on the road. That's kind of been the story as well this year. You can't even go by their home and away record because their home record was practically away.
Yeah, very limited again. By the lease deal that they happen to have here.
Played a couple of home games in Hamilton of all places. And Dominic Davis on the roll and throws, and Denmark has it down inside the 45-yard line. Getting close now to the 3-minute warning. That should be the warning. 12-3 ball game. Bombers on the move on Wendy's Friday Night Football. All right, thank you so much. Selfie time tonight for a lot of people in the stands. Argos' final home game ever. Bombers on the move here. Pound the ground again. What have you thought of Dominic Davis so far in his CFL debut?
Well, early impressions are mostly good. Davis at this point, he's completed 8 of 12 passes. Like the poise that he's shown, particularly the last pass completion to Clarence Denmark, where he was on the scramble on that half roll. There was no panic. Had the poise, eyes downfield. Managed to get his shoulders squared, delivered a nice throw.
Davis guns it. Catch made. But short of a first down. First reception of the night for Nick Moore. Bombers leading targeted receiver. Getting close to 900 yards on the season. Would need a monster night tonight to get to 1,000. Boy, he throws a very hard football with a tight spiral, what we've seen so far.
Yeah, a little bit of a heater there for Nick Moore. Went up and brought it down.
So Sergio Castillo, 46-yarder. Matches his longest as a Bomber, but this time He is wide left. And Deontay Spencer thinking about taking it out. Better go down, and he does. That's a better decision. Gives up 1. And the score is now 12-4. Well, the stakes are high at the mine, separating the men from the boys and the hay from the dirt. Gold Rush is back, kicking off with a 2-hour season premiere Tuesday at 8, only on Discovery.
The clay from the dirt, you said?
Hay.
Oh, the hay
from the dirt. Gold Rush.
Now it makes more sense.
Yes. Argos now again. Trevor Harris back at quarterback. Ricky Ray started the first quarter and into the second. Touchdown pass to Dave Stala on the sideline now. 5-man rush into traffic once again. Bill Bates. Let's go to the sideline and check in once again with Matthew Shinetti.
Rod, Ricky Ray is fine. Just to let everyone know out there, this was always Scott Milanovich's plan. He told us before the game that he always intended on taking Ricky out of the game at some point, giving Harris some playing time. No issues with Ray's health. He just wanted to get Harris some playing time, but he didn't know when, and he didn't tell Ray because he wanted Ray to go through his typical preparation as he would for any other game. But Ray is fine. But Milanovich is just giving Harris playing time, guys.
All right, thanks, Matt. Pass out to Anthony Coombs. Did it look like there was a sense of wonder on the sideline in Ricky Ray's eyes as he was kind of looking up? Aren't I supposed to play the whole game? Ricky Ray's been down this road before.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We talked to Ricky yesterday and discussed the fact that normally in a situation like this, he would have been among those veteran players who weren't even dressed for this football game, but obviously a unique situation for him coming off the injury. So here he is, but I would think that he probably, as a veteran guy, had a bit of a sense of how things might play out.
Justin Pilardi spirals one down to the 25-yard line. It's Spencer Davis again. James Yurichuk drops him at the 32-yard line. And if Ricky Ray and the Argos are able to hang on here, even if Ricky Ray does not play the rest of the game, this would be win number 100 because he's the designated starter, and he joins some pretty select company. Only 7 other quarterbacks have ever had 100 wins in CFL history.
Yeah, this group of guys who will all one day share space in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame.
He's joining Matt at 100 if they get the win tonight. One thing for the Argos, if you just look at it, though, from the outside, and again, this strange season on the road and everything that's happened to this team and all the issues off the field, Scott Milanovich has said that has galvanized his team together. Regardless if it's Ray or if it's Trevor Harris, they have the luxury of 2 quality quarterbacks moving forward.
Yeah, obviously great experience for Trevor Harris this year that you can legitimately obviously call Trevor Harris a starting quarterback. You have 2 starting quarterbacks on your roster, which is really what you strive for in the Canadian Football League.
What you did not want to have happen in this game is an injury, a costly one, especially before the playoffs. And as the Argos take a knee, Devin Smith was down clutching his knee, and apparently they've called for the cart. So this is not good for the Argos moving forward with their postseason aspirations. And there's the injury right in the middle of your screen.
Yeah, Devin Smith was blocked into his teammate Martin Wright. Here the knee of Wright caught the outside of Devin Smith's knee, buckling it in.
A guy who's really found a spot, Dwayne, in this secondary. Wants to walk off. He doesn't want to go to that cart. Former Wisconsin Badger found a home, a couple of picks this season. Has helped solidify that secondary at times, and we'll have to see. We'll get an update from Matt Shinetti. And cart not needed. That's good. But I'm sure some concern for Scott Milanovich.
And Devin Smith, a guy who started every game on defense for the Argos this year. As you said, certainly you don't want to lose anybody in this situation going into the playoffs. The guy at a position where you haven't tested anyone else all year.
You know, and I guess that phrase is used that it's a nothing game, but it is always a something game. You played in games that may be inconsequential to the standings, but it is football. You play the game, and it is a game of collision and impact, and sometimes it's violent, and sometimes injuries crop up.
Yeah, and certainly not a case with Devin Smith's injury where it happened because anybody was relaxed or anything of the sort, but just something that happens in the course of a game. It's the nature of a physical collision sport.
Davis from the pocket again, and once again short of a first down. Chris Bastian. And another injury on the Argos sideline. That is not good. Kevin Elliott, one of their key receivers, has what looks like a walking cast of some sort. That was early in the ball game for Kevin Elliott. And one of the primary targets for Trevor Harris this season in the Argo offense. Again, sitting some of their receivers tonight, like Hazelton and Gurley and Chad Owens, of course.
Well, and this tells you exactly why. Anthony Coombs and Kevin Elliott were the only two regular starters from the Argos' regular starting quintet of receivers who were in the lineup tonight. And with Kevin Elliott going down, you understand exactly why in this situation. You rest some of your key parts.
There's Chad Owens. Owens, who got nicked up late a couple weeks ago, and that didn't look good, but was able to hop right back. He's healthy, just not playing tonight. Probably, maybe the catch of the year, of course, against the Ottawa Red Blacks. Might be playing in Ottawa next week, depending on what happens with Ottawa Hamilton tomorrow. Big game in the nation's capital. Harris, the blitz on. Jack Packard now with some help. Pushed out of bounds by Johnny Adams near the 50. 49 seconds to go. There's a penalty on the play.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Winnipeg, number 55. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Jamal Westerman chasing down Trevor Harris, but got too close. Westerman also chasing down the sack lead. Comes in second in the CFL behind John Bowman this week with 15 sacks.
Well, Jamal Westerman from the left side of that defensive line. A little late with the shove. Tried to plead innocence there, but tough sell.
Yeah, that's a very tough sell. Harris now, deep drop, and floats one up, and on the sideline, making the catch again, is Spencer. Deontay Spencer. Couple of outstanding grabs here tonight. How about this one? Walking the tightrope.
Deontay Spencer is the guy, you talk about receivers flying under the radar. The Argos have this.
I'm not sure this one's in, though. No, they may challenge this.
Unless they snap it quick.
And they're going to snap it quick. There is no challenge. And that might have been certainly challengeable. Not sure Spencer got that foot in.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd even necessarily call that one a close call.
No.
Along the sidelines as we take another look here.
Well, maybe that right foot.
Yeah, may have dragged.
Moot point. Drive continues. Second down and 10 for Trevor Harris. Argos send out 4 receivers. Harris again. Jump ball now. Trouble. Intercepted by Matt Buckner. At the goal line, it has some running room. Buckner brings it up near the 24-yard line. That was not a good pass by Trevor Harris. And easy pickings for Matt Buckner, his 3rd interception of 2015.
Yeah, that one got away from Trevor Harris and just hung up there. The receiver had a step on Buckner. The defender was in position to recover, as you saw as the ball hung up. Nice play by Buckner of University of Windsor, former Hamilton Tiger Cat. Guy who's made an impact not only on the field, but off of it for the Bombers in terms of his community service in Winnipeg.
So 29 seconds to try to get in field goal position for Davis and the Bombers. Adams wisely out of bounds. Fresh set of downs, down to 24 seconds before halftime. Rod and the boys standing by, lots to talk about, setting up the final weekend of the 2015 season, just moments away. But can the Bombers get it in field goal position?
Well, this is one of those tests that if you're Mike O'Shea, you're happy that you have this opportunity to see Davis run a hurry-up offense to play in this situation. It's all part of the evaluation.
Did not get this first down. They will run it up near the 45, and a penalty flag. Looked like a horse collar tackle on Cameron Marshall, if that's the case. 18 seconds to go before the half. They'll get some added yardage here.
Major foul, horse collar tackle, Toronto number 39. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Euclid Cummings, and now the Bombers are within one pass, really, of putting it in field goal position.
An opportunity to try and get it to the sidelines, make sure they stop the clock, and then possibly take an opportunity to center it up. All depends how quickly they're able to execute this first play, though.
Really would like to get it down to the 40-yard line, 35 maybe, or even further in traffic. That's instant field goal position, maybe more. They have a couple more shots here. Trying to huddle up quickly is Nick Moore in traffic, and Davis drops it in.
Yeah, you talk about execution, very confidently thrown ball there from Davis, making his first career CFL start.
Let's see how the kid quarterback can manage this time clock, though. He's got to hurry, he's got to go down, and back to the 40, still in field goal position, but now they're going to have to bring out Sergio Castillo as Martin Wright picks up the sack. And there's a little inexperience that time from Dominic Davis.
Yeah, a situation where you want to throw that football away. You see Martin Wright, a guy who's earned a spot in this Argos D-line rotation, along with Ricky Foley and Tristan Opalaugo, rolling through those end spots. Another good special teamer as well. Valuable guy to have on the roster.
This would be Castillo's longest as a Blue Bomber from 48. He missed from 46 earlier. Not this time. Right through on the final play of the first half. And Sergio Castillo has done the scoring for the Blue Bombers. 12-7 the score. Ricky Ray goes a quarter and a bit. Has a touchdown from Dave Stala and Sergio Castillo. Dominic Davis looking pretty good too. Ceremony to honor Mike O'Shea coming up as well. But let's send it back to Rod and the boys. Long time Toronto Argo, played 12 years here. One of the most feared defenders ever. Mike O'Shea is now an all-time Argo.
Very deserved honor for Mike O'Shea. Guy who poured his heart and soul and continues to do so in everything he does in football. There you see his name, the newest one added to the banner here in the Dome.
Now, of course, the head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Someday in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. And here is Mike O'Shea with Matthew Shinetti.
Coach, I know you're not the sentimental type, but how much does it mean to you to be honored the last time the Argos will play here at the Rogers Centre?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I love this building. I know they need to move on. I need a better facility for the team. They deserve it. The fans deserve it. But it is quite an honor to have my name go up on the banner with the likes of Mazzotti and Pinball and Corrigal and Billy Simons, Dan Ferroni. It's very special. I enjoyed myself immensely here in this building, and I enjoyed the fans through and through. They're fantastic.
Appreciate this, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you, Matthew.
Second all-time in tackles in Canadian Football League history, and still a fan favorite. A lot of number 50s. A guy who played on both sides of the Battle of Ontario, played down the road in Hamilton, now is also part of the Winnipeg Blue Bomber organization. So Mike O'Shea is an all-time Argo. That banner, I'm sure, will go over to BMO Field next year. Number 50, all-time Argo. The Argos lead. O'Shea's Bombers 12-7. Deontay Spencer ripped down near his 20-yard line. So Trevor Harris, as he often does, that last-minute toss, warming up and back into his offense here in the second half.
Yeah, Trevor Harris came on after Ricky Ray received a few series. Ray, a pretty solid start. They get him out of there healthy. Trevor Harris, again, the Argos 2015 nominee for the most outstanding player award.
Chad Cackert in the backfield with him. He will run the inside reverse, and motoring outside is Kenny Shaw. Again, they're giving Kenny Shaw a look here tonight. Out of FSU, a guy who used to play with Jameis Winston, as a matter of fact. Here are our team leaders in the first half, including Ricky Ray, 9 of 12 for 90 yards and a TD.
Yeah, you see the combined passing numbers for Harris and Ray, 189 yards through the opening 30. Deontay Spencer, you know, a guy who's maybe been overshadowed by some of the other first-year receivers in this Argo lineup this season. Elliott, Gurley, Hazelton. Spencer's a terrific football player.
Look out now. Chad Cackert has the corner. Cackert has more. Under the 50 and knocked out of bounds. And Chad Cackert, at one time, thought to be retired. 24 yards, and Cackert is closing in on 80 yards rushing already in this ball game.
Well, Chad Cackert still has that amazing burst, and it's the first thing I noticed about him. I remember him in a preseason game in Winnipeg when he first came into the league. And Chris Van Zyle's getting a close-up look at the burst of Chad Cackert here.
Right into the arms of Van Zyle.
Well, they've got Van Zyle out of the lineup to try and get him healthy for the playoffs. I guess Cackert didn't get the memo. He almost ran him over.
How big of a plus is this for Chad Cackert, who says it's probably to Scott Milanovic as well, hey, put me in this ball game. I can show you that I'm ready for the playoffs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Never know what opportunity may arise.
There's Van Zyle. Be ready next week.
Yeah, Van Zyle came back into the lineup. He had missed the previous several weeks with a calf injury. The Argos just want to make sure that he's 100%, and the feeling is that rather than push him this week with an extra week of rest, then he'll be ready to go 100% next week.
Cackert won't get the first down. It'll be third down, as Mo Leggett's had a strong game here for Winnipeg. That linebacker position, as he was penetrating that line, and it looks like they're not going to go for it on third down. It's actually third and almost 2.5 yards, so they'll have to kick. Stopped him for a loss. So Pilardi comes out to punt.
Winnipeg not ready for the punt.
No,
they looked
not.
like they were expecting field goal.
And Pilardi will put this into the end zone for Leggett, who was standing near his 25-yard line. And the Bombers clearly not prepared, but the Argos get a point on Mike O'Shea's night. Years tonight celebrating the Argos in this building, which was Skydome, now Rogers Center, including the 1991 East Final. Wayne Gretzky, owner at the time. Matt Dunnigan jumps into the stands, an era with a lot of bad mustaches and mullets. And that 91 team won the Grey Cup. Toronto, Matty D was part of it.
Schulte too.
Didn't see him jumping in the stands. Heaven forbid. Dominic Davis now scrambles out of the pocket and slides up near the 40-yard line. And so far in this game, so good for Dominic Davis. Clean football game so far. This is a guy who went to Boston College out of high school, was a backup quarterback at the time, shared the duties with Matt Ryan for a couple years, then transferred over to East Carolina, where he finished out his college career.
Yeah, great career at East Carolina in particular.
Second down and 5 from the Bomber 40. Down 6. Davis again. And And it's Moore picking up a first down. Dominic Davis's first start as a CFL quarterback. Pretty good numbers.
Yeah, 12 of 17 in that first half. You see the numbers. Clarence Denmark leading the way among receivers. 3 catches, 53 yards for him in the opening 30 minutes.
Continues this drive up near the midfield stripe. Will hand it off to Cameron Marshall. Marshall tries to get away and gets the first down. Greg Jones had him and he let him off the hook.
Cameron Marshall dropped the shoulder. Perfect timing there. Upon contact with the middle linebacker Greg Jones. Jones, a guy, doesn't miss a whole lot of tackles. Cameron Marshall got the best of that collision. Running through that one. Good drawing effort there by the Bomber running back.
Team that's also gone through a share of running backs and settled on Marshall through injury and attrition, and Marshall's done a really good job, like right here. Another first down to the Toronto 29.
Cameron Marshall got his opportunity to become the Bombers' starting running back with an injury to Paris Cotton. Marshall had been the number 2 guy, so on the roster, but used a little bit more sparingly, but he's turned in a very solid season for the Bombers. Really had a revolving door at that running back spot since Fred Reed's departure.
Dominic Davis trying to extend that play and will pick up half the first down yardage. Be second down once again, and Davis showing some poise, just 26 years old. 189 less starts than Ricky Ray.
But he settled in nicely, as you mentioned, a guy who hadn't started a game since 2012. Seems to have shaken off any sort of rust. He's looked pretty good for a guy making his first start.
Davis again. A little high for Darvin Adams. And, you know, you look at the Bombers, and Drew Willie was supposed to be their guy this season, and then they went through a number of quarterbacks after the injury. And first team to start 5 different quarterbacks since 1983 for the Bombers, when they started 6 that season. It's the infamous Peter Brock year where he was traded to Hamilton for Tom Clements. Third down, so Brian Brom comes into hold for Castillo again. And they were going to fake that, but there's a penalty flag.
Procedure, Winnipeg, number 39. 5-yard penalty, remains third
Shell
down.
Pombrion, they'll move it back 5.
Well, Pombrion's the wing back. Plays on the left wing, and they're punt alignment.
Now it's back to the 38-yard line, well within Castillo's range. He puts it up and he will split the uprights again. Narrows the lead to 3. Big night for Magnum 44. Chad Cackard. Memories of 2012 here. Healthy Cackard back in the lineup. Argos lead by 3. On TSN continues Wednesday. Raptors taking on the 76ers from Philly. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific across the TSN network. Raptors unbeaten streak at 5 to start the season, in jeopardy tonight in Orlando. As we are in the 6th here in the third quarter. And the pass is caught. Bates has it. Scrapping now. What a fight. What a middleweight fight going on downfield between Johnny Adams and Phil Bates. There's more shots thrown than the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight.
I want to count the number of yards gained by Phil Bates after first contact here. And there's that hit. He goes about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 35. Tony Adams battling him the whole way. What an effort by Phil Bates.
Who's getting a chance late in the season here, regular season. Keep in mind, Kevin Elliott out with an injury. And what Phil Bates is doing here tonight, you might see Phil Bates in the playoffs for the Argos the way it's looking. Swinging it out now. And Deontay Spencer down near the 1-yard line. Spencer was palming that football.
Well, Spencer, another guy looking to find a spot on that playoff roster. As you said, an opening possibly created, as we've seen an injury tonight to Kevin Elliott. Both Bates and Spencer having productive evenings.
Trevor Harris doing what he's been doing all season, leading drives, shredding secondaries. Now hovering near the goal line, trying to punch it to the end zone. Harris floats it up, touchdown! And once again, it's Sticky Stala. He's gone 3 years without a touchdown. He's got 2 tonight.
Well, he only gets them in pairs, as he did back on September 28, 2012. 2 in a game for Dave Stala.
That's not Dave Stala, I know, though. He just handed it over to Trevor Harris. I'm surprised he didn't kick it or spin it or do something to it.
Stala, middle receiver. Just going to work upfield, cross here. Drag his defender through a little bit of traffic.
It was an easy one for Dave Stala, who hangs on again. 2 touchdowns tonight. Will hold for Pilardi for the point after, which is good. Austin Pilardi limps to the sideline. Argos extend their lead thanks to Trevor Harris and Dave Stala.
Very hot.
Sticky's back.
Right now. Wow. We got more?
You'll see quarterback Trevor Harris before the last play, just triggering to start that motion. Bring him down a little bit tighter to the formation. He got the look that he wanted. Man coverage there. Recognizing an opportunity to put the ball in the hands of the veteran.
Dave Stala, like Ricky Ray, 36 years young. One of the oldest receivers in the league. And Spencer Davis brought down by Tanya at the 40, but there's a penalty flag on the play.
During the return, holding Winnipeg number 27. 10-yard penalty, first down Winnipeg.
See Mike O'Shea with some special teams pointers. O'Shea, a guy much like the Argos' current middle linebacker Greg Jones, despite playing full-time on defense, took more than his share of reps on special teams. Takes that part of the game very seriously. Obviously, that's where he got his start in coaching as well.
First and 10 for the Blue Bombers, now down at 10. Midway through the third quarter in their final game of another non-playoff season, and Davis is brought down, fumbled football. Blue Bombers' Stanley Bryant pounced on it. Big loss here on the sack and the strip.
Well, it's Euclid Cummings at D tackle. Great club and rip move there from the rookie guard Chung. Power his way through to the quarterback.
Loss of almost 15 yards on the play. It's 14-yard loss, so second down and 24 for the Bombers. Deep hole now. Davis is going to have to come up chucking. Here's the blitz again. Davis avoids it. Dominic Davis is going to have to step out of bounds. Nobody home. Good coverage from the Argos that time downfield, and Davis had to bail.
Well, that was it. The second and long situation. The Argos only sent 4, dropped 8. Smothered the available receivers, forcing Davis to pull it down and get what he could.
Busiest Blue Bomber tonight, Sergio Castillo. His last punt only 30 yards, so he's back. Will launch from his 5-yard line. Much better kick. Shaw here, no yards. The call, it's a 15-yarder. 20-10 ball game here. Argos lead on Wendy's Friday Night Football. Purelator Tackle Hunger program was here in Toronto tonight. Look at all the food collected this season, brought to you by Purelator, tackling hunger across Canada, a promise we can all help deliver.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 43 sacks, more than a third of those coming from Jamal Westerman. 15, now second in the Canadian Football League coming into this week. Outstanding year for him as he was nominated in 3 categories for the Outstanding Player Awards.
Let's go down to Matthew Shinetti.
Guys, the thing about Jamal Westerman, when Mike O'Shea evaluates this season, he's going to look at Westerman as the kind of guy that brings the culture that O'Shea wants in Winnipeg's locker room. Case in point, earlier this season, O'Shea gave Westerman some special teams responsibilities, and in the special teams meeting, Westerman was the first in, the last out, and O'Shea said that, watching him take the notes, is the kind of example that he has to set to the rest of the players. Westerman, who went to Rutgers, said, accountability is what I learned in college, and I'm not going to change it even after an NFL career. Guys?
Yeah, thank you so much, Matthew. Yes, Jamal Westerman is almost sweeping all the nominees for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Westerman, speaking of his NFL career, has played in Rogers Center before as well, the Skydome. In college, he played here in a bowl game, the International Bowl, and also a couple of NFL games here. So he's had some memories himself of having to get tickets for friends and family because he comes from the Brampton area. 2nd down and 7. Harris hanging in and wrapped up and ripped down. Ian Wild with the sack. Well, it's been that kind of year though for number 55, and his coach certainly appreciates him.
He certainly epitomizes how hard you need to work to be on top of your game. It's pretty evident. I mean, if the younger players watch him, they realize that you work that hard and you get these results. He's second in the league in sacks. He's got 50 or 60 tackles, which for a guy, an edge rusher, is not always common. He's certainly a guy that you want to build around for sure.
No question about that. A top Canadian player, but also, as Mike O'Shea says, a guy who brings the right attitude to the table. Some people may look at Jamal Westerman as a guy with a number of unnecessary roughness or roughing the passer penalties over the course of this year. The fact is, he's a high motor guy, a guy who doesn't take a play off. And that's exactly what you want.
Guy who plays special teams as well, and the battle always continues. Doesn't take a play off. Finishes it right to the very end, as he is this season. And as he told us yesterday, hoping that that kind of leadership he's shown has been an example to others as they move forward next year. And I know fans in Winnipeg have become impatient with his ball club the last couple of seasons. Since they went to the Grey Cup a few years ago, that's been largely a miss towards the postseason, and another one this year. 5-win season.
Yeah, a rebuild isn't quite as easy as it used to be in the Canadian football.
No, you almost need a pre-build, then a rebuild.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a time before the salary cap where you could go out and sort of buy the instant rebuild via free agency. You had more players going to free agency, and if you had a willingness to spend, not a problem. But in a salary cap era, it's more about that's then become more of a slow and steady process. But you look at some of the new parts that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have added to the table over the last couple of years, and this year in particular, some very good building blocks there. You know, you talk about guys on defense like Jamal Westerman as a Canadian,
Khalil Bass,
Johnny Adams, some very good young football players they've brought into the mix. You look on the offensive side, you've got number 2 overall pick in Suk Chung, who's been a starter from day one and appears destined to have a great CFL career. You're seeing Matthias Gosen getting an opportunity to play late in the season. Those are 2 young guys that can grow together on that offensive line. But it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen over a year.
Trying to thread the needle, looking for Darvin Adams. Incomplete pass. And I know it's a built-in excuse for the Blue Bombers, and I guess maybe it's kind of a metaphor around this. Everything's been so close for this team. Last year, this year, again, the quarterback problems are obvious. You know, keeping someone upright and healthy for an entire season. But the close games that they've had, even recently, they could be in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, it was interesting covering the Bombers through the recent back-to-back series with Ottawa.
Davis.
Week 17 and 18 of the season. Because a number of the Ottawa players made the remark that they remind us a lot of Ottawa a year ago. A very young team that lost a lot of close football games. But watch for them in a year and see where they're at. And I think that's going to be the key with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, is if they're able to take the next step in 2016.
Minute 40 to go, third quarter. Argos by 11. Looking to get their first double-digit win season since 2013. Short kick here, trying to induce no yards. There is a no yards call. We saw Jamal Westerman. He is obviously one of the leaders moving forward, and he said lessons learned this year, push it forward.
A lot of games, we played a lot of good. We played, you know, probably the top teams in the league very close. But you don't know what it's going to take to get to that next level. You don't know where it is, but you have to find it. You know, you have to uncover it. Is it preparation? Is it, you know, preparing your body better? Is it taking more notes? Is it, you know, studying more film? Is it being together as a team? Is it resting more? You know, you don't know where it is. And, you know, the thing this year, we played a lot of teams close and we were in it. But we have to find whatever it is to take that next step.
Harris hands off to Chad Cackert. Cut down. Another area where the Bombers have been really deficient in, big plays. Not only big plays offensively, but stopping big plays defensively. And the best teams make big plays and stop other teams from making big plays.
Critical times, and that speaks to the late game struggles, if you will. Losing some of those close games, letting them slip away in fourth quarters and so on. But experience is a part of that.
Harris now on 2nd and 7. Lobs it up and trying to race underneath it is Spencer. He had him. And if he had him, he might have been gone. Overthrow from Trevor Harris.
Well, watch the stop and go move on the outside here from Deontay Spencer. And I'm just going to hook it up here. Johnny Adams bites. Ball hawking DB on that corner. And Trevor Harris knew he missed there.
So once again, Pilardi, who wasn't scheduled to do a whole lot of kicking tonight, just on kickoffs with Swayze Waters apparently healthy, but he had tightness before the ball game, so is not playing. Pilardi doing all the kicking here tonight. The Bombers will have one more play in this third quarter. A Bomber team that's 1-9, trailing after 3 quarters. Trying to pull one out here for some pride tonight. Maybe win one for Mike O'Shea, as he was honored as an all-time Argo at halftime. Trying to get to a 6-win season.
You see the newest name, that all-time Argos banner.
That is 3/4 down, 15 minutes left here tonight. Argos trying to get to 10 wins. And the Bombers come back and spoil their party. Final week of the 2015 regular season is upon us. Final game for the Argos in their long history here in Toronto in this building. One of the great memories, one of the lasting ones. 2012, the 100th Grey Cup goes to the Argos. And Ricky Ray remembers it well.
And I enjoy playing in the Sky Dome, and you know, it's such a quarterback-friendly environment. You know, no wind, no rain, you know, nothing. So, you know, I've got some great memories. Obviously, the Grey Cup, you know, a few years ago, but the other one that sticks out in my mind is when we had a blackout. I think it was back in 2003. We were, you know, busting on our way to the game, and we get there and there's no power on, and we end up hanging out in Toronto for a few extra days and playing the game a little bit later. But it was kind of a neat experience, you know, just kind of doing some things together as a team, you know, those few extra days, and you know, we ended up winning the Grey Cup that year, and that was kind of one of the things that we look back to as kind of a bonding thing for the team.
Well, Ricky Ray has some fond memories. It looks like Ricky Ray will be the quarterback of choice for Scott Milanovich and the Argos next week, whether it's in Ottawa or down the road in Hamilton.
To be determined. Ottawa victory or Hamilton victory
by 7.
So Ottawa finishes first if they win or lose by 5 or fewer.
Points.
Hamilton needs to win by 6 or more to host.
Doing some math tomorrow. Tiger Cats will.
A great way to...
Without Jeff Matthews.
Yeah, adding to the intrigue for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Again, another team that has suffered through growing pains without its outstanding quarterback, Zach Collaros.
Davis fires one. Midfield stripe. It's Adams again. Has become a favorite target for Dominic Davis.
Well, Darvin Adams, another one of those off-season additions. He's the lone man into the boundary. Get him isolated out there. A guy who's been a pretty good deep threat for the Bombers this year. Never really find regular duty with the Toronto Argonauts last season. Made the most of his opportunity in blue and gold.
Davis, wobbler on the far side, but it's for Adams. It's about 5 or 6.
Very good complement, working primarily on the short side of the field with Nick Moore as his slot back. Pretty good tandem. Those two guys both over 800 yards coming into this one.
Davis winging it out for Moore. That's another first down, and you gotta like the boys. I know it's only not even one game yet for Dominic Davis, but he does not look like a fresh-faced rookie out here.
Yeah, there certainly haven't been any glaring errors from Dominic Davis. And for a guy making his first Canadian Football League start, regardless of what else is on his resume, I mean, this is, CFL is a different experience.
Spent some time in NFL camps with Atlanta, Tennessee, and Indianapolis. They haven't found the end zone yet, but they continue to move the football.
There's a look at some of the moments for Dominic Davis in this ball game. Spreading the ball around to a number of different receivers. We've seen him use his legs to extend plays on a few occasions. Haven't really seen him pull it down and take off yet. Again, that, I think in a young quarterback, a guy early in his career, to not rely on his legs, scrambling around, keeping his eyes downfield when he does get on the move, I think is a positive sign.
Well, he wanted to go that time, and He will be well short of a first down, and again, it will be Castillo time. Chance to make it an 8-point ball game. Castillo from the 41. Sergio Castillo, and that ball looked like it just squirted wide. Just 1 point for Castillo and the Bombers on the miss.
Hey, I know a lot of you guys haven't been here for very long. This building has had some great moments in the history of our organization. From Doug Flutie to John Candy to a couple years ago when your teammate Andre Dury scored the winning touchdown in the 100th Grey Cup. Let's honor all the Argos that came before us tonight. Let's send this out the right way with the win. Get rolling going into the playoffs. Grab a knee. Grab a knee.
Scott Milanovich had one of his lasting moments here. 2012, his team won the Grey Cup. And there have been a lot of memories in this building from John Candy, who was an owner at one time with Wayne Gretzky and Bruce McNall through the years, the great players who have played here. Deontay Spencer. Argos trying to go out with a win here tonight in their final game at what used to be known as Skydome. One of my favorite memories was the game when the Gretzky ownership took over their first game and the Blues Brothers were here and there were celebrities everywhere. This place was packed. Rocket Ismail came north of the border to play, and there was a buzz in this city, buzz in this building as Deontay Spencer goes over 100 yards. There was a buzz in this building in 2012 when this place was packed for the 100th Grey Cup. Chad Cackard. Unfortunately for the Argos, though, there hasn't really been that buzz for the last couple of years. They didn't capitalize after 2012, and the season ticket base eroded here, and
but
the lease agreement was not compatible.
The lease agreement, let's be frank about it, the lease agreement was a nightmare.
Absolutely.
And it didn't just affect the Toronto Argonauts by forcing them to play home games in different places, but it affected the rest of the league because a number of their games were on odd nights that didn't fit the rest of the schedule.
Harris to Cackard. Everyone reminiscing tonight. Scott Milanovich did not have to go back far for his favorite memory.
I have great memories of Rogers Center. Winning the Grey Cup, one of top 5 moment in my life, being there with my family. All the moments before and after the game in the coach's locker room. That's the only home I've known as an Argonaut. So despite all of the issues we've had, I'll have fun memories of Rogers Center.
2nd and 6. Looking for one more memory here tonight. You could also talk, Mr. Ford, about the ownership situation, which has changed now, moving forward as well.
Yep. Going along with that move to BMO Field. We see a new partnership. We see part of the old partnership. John Candy, part of that group that took over in the early 90s.
Boy, did he ever love football. Getting a chance to be around John Candy at the time.
A Toronto kid.
One of the funniest men ever, one of the nicest guys, and unaffected by celebrity. As Harris is sacked, number 16 on the season for Jamal Westerman. Ties him for the CFL lead.
Jamal Westerman rounding things out in front of friends and family. This is just a Jamal Westerman effort play. Play gets extended, he keeps the motor running to get to quarterback Trevor Harris.
Making it 2nd and 16 from just inside Bomber territory. Harris has loads of time. A pump fake. Now he has to step up. And another sack here.
That's 17.
Jamal Westerman, as Trevor Harris ran right into that sack.
He's going faster than our graphics department can even keep up with those sacks. Back to back right there. Summed up at the bottom, you see him team nominee for most outstanding player, most outstanding defensive player, and of course most outstanding Canadian.
Almost blocked. Once again, it's Spencer Davis. Tackled at his 30-yard line. Jamal Westerman back to back here. Now assumes the CFL lead. 17 on the season and counting.
The Honors can do that.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by GMC Sierra. We are professional grade. Your mouth is watering right now. Your mouth is watering right now.
They look good, I'm not going to lie, but I like a much higher meat to bread ratio in my sandwiches.
Dominic Davis now. First star for the Bombers, and Nick Moore almost made a spectacular catch.
Rod Smith would have had that.
Rod Smith
totally would have had that.
He's got those kind of hops. Studio host who may have had one of the catches of the year. I think Milt Stiegel threw that? He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Backyard at TSN. Rod lost his suit though and a shirt. Made the catch.
That's commitment.
That's commitment. 2nd down and 10. Davis brings it back now, and again will step out of bounds. 6.5 to go. Time running out on the Bombers season. And running out on the Argos time here in this building. Castillo. A night with a lot of memories rekindled here in Rogers Center / Skydome. One of the greatest Argos ever is going to join us in a few moments. He electrified this city. When we come back, we will have pinball in our booth.
Bonus points.
Well, the flashback, maybe of all flashbacks, highlights surrounding Doug Flutie, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and maybe one of the greatest CFL players ever, is the guy who wore 31, Michael Pinball Clemens. There's only one way to actually properly say goodbye to this building, is to have pinball with us. Is it an emotional night for you? I mean, a lot of great memories here.
Well, you know, tonight for me has been filled with just trying to go around and see fans and appreciate them, and all the fun. Yeah, all the fun and excitement that's been around this building, and so I've tried not to look at it as a bad night.
You've had some great ones here. What's your greatest memory of Skydome / Rogers Center?
Well, I think my greatest moment are moments. It's almost impossible to say one.
You've got a very long highlight reel.
but it really is the team victories, like those times where we come together as a team and we prevailed. Right there are the times where there was adversity, like the blackout that took place, which one of those other things. But the greatest memories are those with your teammates, going to battle with your team and coming out victorious, especially those big games. The Grey Cup victories and those great teams that played there. A real highlight has to be when Rocket Ismail was there along with Matt Dunnigan and Wayne Gretzky and just amazing. And this is the big play in the
Remember
Eastern
that
final.
guy? Remember this guy?
Oh, yeah, so he wasn't bad. The guy that threw it to him, though, he was the real deal.
Well, pinball, you forged quite a career and quite a life in Canada. Your number retired here. You've done so much. You're in the Hall of Fame. You're still part of the Argo organization moving forward. You had a big gala last night. You raised $500,000 for really kids around the world. That might be your greatest victory, is the fact that you've done so much away from the game.
Well, I think the saying, none of us alone is as good as all of us together, fits football. Football is the greatest team game there is, and likewise in all the other endeavors that we're involved in. Last night, you were there. You helped to make that happen.
Yeah, it was
there
great.
are so many others. The Kielburger brothers are such a big part of our. We have a just wonderful board member. Steve Meehan is our chairman, and he does such a great job. We have so many leaders. There are so many parts of that team, and people right across the country have helped us out. My man Bob McCowan has reached people right across the country, helping us to raise money and do things to help kids get a hand up, not a handout.
Throwing it to the far side for Deontay Spencer. So I have to ask you, as part of this organization still, what about the move not far away to BMO Field? What do you think about that?
See, that was the perfect place. See, I had this design. I said not a hand up, not a hand out, and then he was supposed to get a hand off, but he threw the ball, so we ruined that. But when we talk about the future, the best way to honor the past, it is the promise of a future, and that is what I believe that this day is all about. It is about not what is behind us, and though we can have that memory and reminisce on all the good times, but I think the big part here is where we're going to BMO Field and a new culture, a new atmosphere, outdoors. I think it's a great start. It's a fresh start for the Toronto Argonauts.
Incomplete pass. They wanted an interference call.
So did I.
Yes, you did. You still bleed blue and white. And this is a nice send-off tonight. This has been a struggle this season for this football team.
Winnipeg.
Trying to get fans here and just the erratic schedule and everything that went along with it.
Yeah, I don't think the biggest problem is trying to get fans here. The biggest problem here is that it really is an international city. So you hosted one of the biggest international games or the biggest international event that has ever taken place in this country, I believe, was the Pan Am Games. And so they were displaced because of that. The Blue Jays played well, had a wonderful season, and we don't want to take that away from them. Mm-hmm. We were displaced because of that, and now the real thing is to kind of come next week and figure out who we're going to play, win that game, win the next one, and go to the Grey Cup, and everybody forget about it.
Move into a new home next year that, by all accounts, is going to be great for this football team.
It is, and they do have a tough road ahead to be able to make it out to Winnipeg to the Grey Cup. But I think the idea here is that when you're playing the game and you're playing at this level, you want to make sure that you want your fan base to be able to have that place where they can come and they can count on. As players, you want to say, wherever we play, wherever we line up, this is a great opportunity. I'm playing professional football. But for your fans, you really want to have that place to call home, that they can put their mark on, and when you arrive there, they're there to cheer you on and make you feel special, different, and that's, I think, what BMO Field will give us.
Well, the Bombers have brought Matt Nichols into the game. Dominic Davis had started this ball game. I'm going to ask you a really tough question in a moment. You know, I've been asking you some tough ones. But I think I know what the answer is going to be. Is it the quarterback, Ricky Ray or Trevor Harris? Trevor Harris, the season for the ages for him. I would assume it's Ricky Ray moving to next week. I know you were a coach, too.
Yes, I would assume the same thing. And I'll also assume that the coach has a lot more information than I am. He was also a quarterback, by the way. And so he probably knows quarterbacks a whole lot better than I do. And so I'm going to leave it to the quarterback to pick the right quarterback, and I think he'll get it done.
Good answer. Good answer. Michael, good seeing you. Congratulations on your gala last night.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate it, okay?
Your number and your name always here for the last few years. We'll move over to BMO Field next year.
We rise by lifting others, I think that is. BMO, here we come. Baby.
Wendy's Friday Night Football brought to you by Wendy's Bacon Portobello Mushroom Melt. It's back, but only at Wendy's. Now that's better. Back indoors for the final 2 minutes and 49 seconds of the Argos' history in this building. Bombers third and about 4. Nichols in, catch is made, and a fumble, and it's Hawkins. Hawkins has the football. Bombers have the first down. Travis Hawkins still on his feet, still on the sideline. Penalty flag down. That was a pinball-like spin there for a moment, wasn't it?
No touchdown, but Travis Hawkins may have my highlight of the night. Take a look here after the catch by Rory Collard. Exactly when the ball comes out.
Yeah, it's a fumble.
Yeah, just before that knee touches
Legal
down,
block.
that ball is free.
During the return, Toronto number 38. The previous play is currently under review by the command center.
Punched out by the middle linebacker, Greg Jones. It is. It's still up against his body, but he's lost control of the ball. It's out of his hand just before that knee touches down.
All turnovers are reviewed. Clearly he had possession. Then lost it. Now watch this move right here. Wow. Pinball-like.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It was a fumble. First down, Toronto.
Argos do get the ball on the turnover by the Blue Bombers. 2:24 remain here. 10-point game, and this could be another costly loss for the Argos.
This is their two starting halfbacks,
dropping
Devin
like
Smith
flies.
and Travis Hawkins.
Travis Hawkins down. A week away from a playoff game. Got players down everywhere. Scott Milanovich's worst fear coming into this game, again inconsequential to the standings, was the health of his players moving forward. And they will all have to be medically assessed, all the injured players, as Curtis Steele runs left side. Khalil Bass brings him down. Julian Posey with the initial contact.
One of the guys who could have been a potential replacement should any of these injuries linger into next week. Isaiah Green, backup defensive back. He's also been helped off the field in this football game after a collision on special teams. So their depth really being challenged here.
Be a very interesting week as they try to get ready for either the Cats or the Red Blacks. 2nd and 4. Steele again, and he's going to be short. Already a 2-possession ball game. Under 2 minutes to go.
The Argos with regular offense still on the field here.
They're going to go for it. 3rd down and a long 3, by the way. They have to get to the 34-yard line. Harris puts his receivers in motion and will hand it off again, and Curtis Steele with a big play there. Stiff arm, gained him a couple extra yards, and he has the first down.
A big run there from Curtis Steele as the Argos try to close this one out. See the Bombers with everything stacked up at the line of scrimmage. The inside Leggett gets hands on. They were so committed to stopping that run on the inside when they saw that look. It's a great bounce by Steele. Great read. Great reaction there by the running back.
The Argos here could really just salt this away now. Harris will remain in shotgun. Pistol formation now. They look to secure their 10th win. Get ready for next week as Steele slips on the carpet that time. Bombers are going to fall to 5-13. Missing the playoffs again this year. 7-11 last year. 3-15 the year before, and a lot of work to do in Winnipeg in the offseason. Scott Milanovich looks to next week. 2nd down and 8. Packard carries the mail this time. Bounces one tackle, and he's close to the stick. It's going to be 3rd down, and it looks like half yard maybe.
The halfback Bruce Johnson did a nice job in run support. Came up, went low. Didn't wrap up on the play, and Chad Cackard's got that low center of gravity. Such strong legs. Able to run through this tackle. There you see Johnson looking for the collision. Got to wrap up on number 44.
Final 30 seconds now. Again, 3rd and 1. Packard in the backfield. Likely will get it. He does, and he will get the 1st down. And we can wind it down now. Argos will look to the playoffs. Try to get healthy, try to get ready. Did not make the playoffs last year. And if they get to the Grey Cup game in Winnipeg, 3 weeks, they'll have to do it on the road to get 2 wins. Final moments here. Play clock comes down. There'll be one more play. And they will whistle it down now. The Toronto Argonauts say goodbye to this building. So long Rogers Center, so long Skydome. Hello playoffs. From Ricky Ray to Doug Flutie to Matt Dunnigan to Rocket to Pinball, a lot of great memories here in this building. Argo's final game is a win over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And Chad Cackard, guy who had a great comeback game earlier this year against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, turns in another strong effort here tonight. Number of good runs. Showed that classic Cackard burst. Making a pretty good case, perhaps, for a spot on that postseason roster. Chad Cackard is tonight's Nissan Titan player of the game.
Brought to you by Nissan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. So only appropriate. Chad Cackard, who was the MVP of the Grey Cup, one of the great memories in this building, is the MVP of this final game in this building. BMO Field, the home next year for the Toronto Argos. We'll see you in the playoffs. Argos win 21-11 in their final game at Rogers Center. As we send it back to Rod and the guys in the studio.
Thank you.